What's up, guys? Welcome to QBC. Today we're going to be smoking a whole chicken on the Pit Boss. Going to be doing a mix of some pellets that I've mixed together myself and a little bit of a whiskey barrel pellets that I picked up on Amazon. Never tried them, so we're going to see how they do today on the whole chicken. I'm going to get this Pit Boss up to temp and then come back and we're going to season the chicken and get it on for probably, I don't know, 2.5 to 3 hours smoke, see how long it takes. We'll probably fire up the temperature to a little bit warmer towards the end, hopefully get a good, nice, like little crisp on the skin. So let's fire it up. Alright guys, so I got it turned on. We're looking right about 60 something degrees inside right now. Turned up to 250, we'll set it at 250. Where it says MP3, this is actually the 4th probe. If you have the app for Pit Boss, it'll show probe 4. We're going to use that as an ambient temp. So this right here is an ambient temp. It sits just inside the main box. I'll use the probe for another ambient temperature, and then I also have just like a analog probe here for an ambient temperature that's right in the middle. Using the Jim Beam bourbon pellets today. Never tried them. We're going to mix them with a little pellet blend I have down there. And see how it goes. So let's load the hopper, get this thing up to temp, and get to smoking. Alright guys, so I got the smoker almost up to temp. Here we got our whole chicken, and we're going to go ahead and season it up before we put it on. So going to do a little bit of olive oil on there just to get the seasoning to stick, a little bit of salt, some garlic, and then I'm actually using Black Magic. This is a seasoning from Spiceology. I got it for Christmas. Really liked it. I am going to add a little bit more salt. Most of these blends do have a lot of salt already in them, so it's really not needed. However, salt is the last ingredient listed on their blend, so there's not a ton of salt in it, so it's not going to hurt to add a little bit more salt, especially smoking something like a chicken. If it was like a blend where like the first thing you see is salt and then garlic, paprika, pepper, whatever that follows after it, then you probably don't need a lot of salt. If I were to have salt brine this overnight, I probably wouldn't be adding salt either, and I would just be doing just the rub by itself. But since I just pulled out of the package a little bit ago, I am going to add a little bit of salt to it. We're also going to be doing this like kind of beer can style. So we're going to take a good little can of beer, shove it up the rear end of this chicken, hope it keeps some of that moisture. We're not doing it at a super high temp, so probably a lot of that won't evaporate until we get towards the end of the cook, where I'll fire the temp up. That'll keep the inside nice and moist while the outside gets good and crispy. So let's season it up and get it on. Oh, another thing, when I do this, you want to keep one hand clean, you know, touching the seasoning, and then use one to touch the bird or your protein, whatever it is. Don't go touching the bird and then grab one of these, because now you've contaminated one of these bottles. You're going to go put it back inside. The wife grabs it. It can get messy. Keep one hand clean, one hand on the bird. I do the gloves, it's easy to take it off. And I keep rags and stuff too that I use. So now let's season. right, so I got the I got it on. I set the temp. I moved the temp up to 300 because it was running a little cold because it's colder outside. So sometimes even when we set it at 250 with these Pit Boss, especially I don't know if it was the same with the old controller, but this one tends to run about 15 degrees cooler than where it is set at, especially if it's colder outside. So what I want to do is go ahead and get a temperature probe in. This probe here again is running our ambient temperature. It says 226. The actual main ambient temperature says about 218, and then my one up here is just under between 200 and 225 as well. So they're all reading fairly accurate. I don't want this thing to cook, you know, forever. It is a whole chicken, so I turned it up to 300, hoping that you know, we'll probably run around 250 to 275, somewhere in there. So shouldn't be too bad. We're not doing like a brisket or pork butt forever, so, and we want the skin to get, you know, crispy, not soggy. So let's put this probe inside the chicken just so we can monitor it from the phone. Alright, I think we got this bird all wrapped up. Let's get it off the smoker. We'll put it down, take a quick look at it. Let's cut a little piece off. Let's see how it tastes. It cuts so smooth like butter. You can just tell it's been sitting, you know, been cooking for a while. I'm cutting right off the breast, so if there's any dry part, this will be the driest part. Good skin, good flavor. Not soggy at all. Good little white meat piece. That is so good. Not salty at all. Very Cajun kind of flavor, blackened seasoning. Good herb kind of flavor to it. Man, that's unbelievable. That's more moist than some dark meats, you know, I've had before, like on a rotisserie. So really happy with the way this turned out. Really happy with the way the Pit Boss ran it. So we cooked it about 250, 275 for roughly about two and a half, just over two, I think about right around 2 hours, and then turned it up to 500 on high. And I did that for like a half hour just to really darken up the skin on the outside. So the internal temp was about 160 when we did that. So I know that's approaching about 165, and you really don't want to dry out the bird, so be careful doing it. But if you can fire it up and get it really hot on the outside just for a few minutes, just to crisp up the skin, kind of finish off like that seasoning, it'll really make a difference. So yeah, really happy with it. Thanks for joining me. We'll see you next time.